Welcome and thank you so much for being here. I am Jackie Opie. We are running the Love Uncensored Summit, and I'm here with the gorgeous Jane Donovan, who I will introduce to you in just a moment. But before we get stuck into some really juicy content, if you know anybody who could benefit from being on this journey with the Love Uncensored Summit, I would love you to share this interview with them. You never know whose life you're going to change just by hitting the forward button. And goodness knows we all need more love, more intimacy and connection in this world. So do your part, share this information, and you might just change somebody's life forever. Thank you for being here, Jane Donovan. I'm going to do a quick intro, and Jane and I have never actually met in person before, but I've had so many people say, you've got to meet this woman. She's absolutely amazing. And I'm so lucky to be living in the same state as you. So an introduction to Jane. Jane Donovan is a love coach. She's also a radio host, a speaker, and a presenter. She's also an author and a columnist. And best of all, Jane is a matchmaker. She lives in Adelaide, South Australia, with her beautiful husband of 20 years, Simon, and her 2 teenage girls who really light her up and is the cause for all the work that she does. She's also the author of 2 books, which are Thoughts on Love, Life, and All That Jazz. And the second one, it's called Tough Love, Getting the Date. Jane's also the owner of Social 8, which is an Adelaide-based business where she's matchmaker and event host to Adelaide's single people. Jane, we are so lucky to have you in South Australia, and thank you so much for being here.
Oh, no, thank you so much for inviting me. And I just have to say, I love the intent that you shared at the beginning about the summit and what, we're all wanting to do, which is just help there be a whole lot more love in the world. So thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. So Jane, I'd love to know from you, how did you get to do the work that you do? What headed you in this direction?
Yeah, this crazy mad direction. Look, I spent 23 years in the entertainment industry, started as a dancer, moved into choreography, became an entertainment producer. And through that, I ultimately did an awful lot of event management. A lovely friend of mine started the business Social 8 12 years ago now. And not long into her journey, she was looking for a partner. And I was ready for a change. My youngest was just starting school, so I was looking for a different type of career that would fit in around the children and so I could enable them to be my priority. And so I thought, yeah, I can organise social events for single people. That'd be fun. But then it became very serious very quickly. What I started to observe were a lot of patterns from these beautiful people that come to me. Vulnerable people, excited people, scared people, all sorts of people, but they're all wanting to have a greater social engagement, a greater connection, and ultimately most of them are wanting to find love. So I started to see these patterns occurring with these intelligent, lovely people, and it was the same self-sabotaging patterns. So then I thought, I've got to help these gorgeous people. So I started studying. So I've spent the last 11 years studying from some amazing, psychotherapists in the States that, we didn't have much of a coaching industry really here for single people back then. Now I'm grateful that there's so many people doing this beautiful work. And I learned, and then I started coaching and getting good results. Then I started doing podcasts to reach more people with the wisdom. And it just grew from there. And so I'm just really blessed to be getting up every day and doing something I love.
Jane, isn't that half the journey, is being in that space of doing something that you absolutely love? And I can imagine the lives that shift as a result of the work that you do. And I agree with you. 11 years ago, there was very little out there in terms of, what was accessible for people who found themselves in a space where either they weren't feeling connected to their partner anymore, or they were finding a struggle in connecting with people in the first place. So I think that the work you do, and clearly the reputation that you have, because I've heard your name come up so many times, it's powerful, it's life-changing for people.
Oh, thank you for saying that. It is so important that people find their passion, whatever it is. It makes no difference. Look, it's easy. You know, we both are very blessed to work in love, and people go, wow, that's so cool. But it doesn't have to be something that other people are impressed by. I don't do this work to be validated by other people, although it's always lovely to get. Thank you. I do the work because this is my heart-centered core of who I am. And when single people are desiring to meet somebody wonderful, to date, to form a relationship, to hopefully have that long-term journey with somebody by their side, you have to have a life for yourself first. You've got to have that heart space of whatever it is that you're doing that you're excited about. It is your point of attraction. You know, spiritually, we talk about the law of attraction, of like attracting like. And I see this play out every single time, bar none, in the dating game. It is always a vibrational match. Now, what I mean by that is we go into the vibration of the body, and that is dictated by our emotions. So what we are feeling is what we attract. And you know, we can go to that gorgeous DVD that went viral, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, The Secret. You know, you get out of bed, you flip through the alarm, you spill your coffee, the car won't start, the first client's horrible, the boss is yelling at you, and the day just gets worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
That we can stop at any point and become very aware of where we are and shift our thoughts, our words, and our emotions so that we can raise the bar on our point of attraction. And this is one of the big things. I love seeing single people get this. When they really get, they are the energetic creator of their own reality. At first, it's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow because that kind of means, oh, I kind of created all of that horrible stuff or the crap I didn't want happening in my life. Well, sorry, but bit of tough love, yeah, you did. But the good news is once you start to own your own story, own your own journey, and own your own power, and it is power, it's dynamic, strong, amazing, magical power that we create, that when we can get our words, our thoughts, and our emotions all in alignment, that is authenticity. Then we present authentic, and then the right people come into our world. And it's not just in dating, it'll be in every area of our life. The friendships we have, the relationships with our family, what happens with our clients, etc. Everything just becomes beautifully in alignment with our heart, which is where we actually started this whole thing from. You and I doing heart-based work.
That's exactly right.
Have I gone down a bit of a rabbit hole?
It's the perfect rabbit hole. The number of times that I hear people say, because the work that I do is similar, but it's with people who are in long-term relationships. And the words that I hear come out of people's mouth very often is, why does this always keep happening to me? And say, well, if we look at what we're talking about, it is because of what we're putting out there. It's going to keep happening until something shifts. And so to hear you say that is just so powerful. So for anybody out there who keeps attracting the same kind of person, well, is it that person, or is there something that's going on inside that hasn't been looked at yet?
It's a wonderful signpost for us. Every engagement that we have with every human being is a signpost for us for where is our point of attraction, what are we literally vibrating at. And so if you're having a good experience, keep doing what you're doing. If you're not having a good experience, then what is it that you can change? And we've got two games going on. We've got the inner game and we've got the outer game. So basically what I do with the whole matchmaking, singles, dating, love, relationships, social confidence, social connection thing is many people will come to me with a desire for an outer game help. I can't meet people. Where do I go? Look, most of my clients range from 30 up to mid-70s, late 70s. So they're not wanting to be in the clubs and pubs. They're wanting something a bit more refined. And so they come to me wanting those opportunities. And for some people, that's all they require. Get the opportunities, get amongst it, meet people, date, it's all happening. But for others, that opportunity doesn't give rise to the outcome that they are desiring. That's when we've got to go and start doing the inner work. So that's why I've got my coaching practice for the inner work and all the resources that are there. And I've got loads of free resources I'll share with your listeners shortly. But then at the outer game, If you work on the inner game, the outer game is actually going to take care of itself.
Jane, I'm guessing that some of that inner work that needs to be done relates to people's self-sabotage that they're doing, that you would see quite often in the work that you do. What are some of the self-sabotage that you see people carrying out that just keeps playing the same thing over and over, and what can they do about it?
Okay, the number one self-sabotaging behavior I've seen in dating that is by far the number one is inaccurate assumptions. People are making inaccurate judgments all the time. Now, they will meet somebody, and I find that the older that we get, a lot of people will become more fear-based. Now, they may not be aware of that because the subconscious mind, which does control an awful lot of our behavior, is actually protecting people and keeping them safe, going, oh, don't go near that guy. Oh, no, no, no. You've done that before and that didn't end well. So suddenly all guys that are wearing blue jeans are the same guy. And the subconscious is going, stay away, stay away. So it's that inaccurate assumptions. Now, some people are doing it consciously, some unconsciously. Regardless of where they're coming from, it's making a decision to find reasons to rule somebody out of having a date with them, rather than finding reasons to connect and ruling them in for a second date. And so if everybody could have this one mindset shift change, then I truly believe that we can have every person who's desiring a relationship in a relationship within 6 months. So if I had every person in Australia on my database and everyone spent a period of time with me, like I'm talking, they could get it in an hour or maybe a week or maybe a month or maybe 6 months. If they could get that one shift to remove their fears, they will be in a healthy long-term relationship with somebody that is a vibrational match to them within 6 months. Now, that's a big statement, but I actually believe that is the root cause of the number one self-sabotaging behavior. So what you've got to do is look at, what is it that I'm fearing? Why do I have this defense mechanism up? Why have I got the wall up? What is it I can do to shift my thinking so that I don't have to be so defensive? And that's where you've got to start looking at, what are your fears? Well, I'm scared that I'm going to get hurt again. Well, let's look at reframing that. What are the gifts that you learnt from last time? Are you the same person? Have you got the same skill set that you had then? Chances are you've got a much better skill set now. So the chances are that you've got healthier boundaries, a better qualifying system, a better way of being able to maneuver and communicate and create that sacred space of early getting to know each other, that you're actually going to have a much different outcome. Well, that was a bit of a monologue, wasn't it?
It's perfect, because that is the crux of it. When we think about, based on so many different things, our belief systems that we've created over a lifetime, especially, as you said, Jane, as people get older, we become so entrenched in those stories that we've been telling ourselves forever. And all of a sudden we're trying to see things from a different perspective, but we're held back by these stories that still hang around. I love the goal. Imagine that. Imagine if every person on this planet who felt lonely and was looking for love and connection in some way could find that. I just look at what's going on in the world right now. It wouldn't happen.
Well, they can if they do the work. And by the work, it is all your internal work. It's changing your mindset. It's healing your past. It's gathering new tools so that you can step out as a much more self-empowered individual. You see, when you know yourself, you are therefore not requiring validation from other people. So you walk into an event and there's the cute guy over there, but he actually ignores you. Your inner child doesn't start running the show going, it's not fair, or feeling hurt or feeling rejected. You actually just see it for what it is. I'm not his type. Big deal. Look at the next guy. Who cares? Move on. It's not personal. So when you do that work, you start to get a whole different result. And as you start to become self-empowered, here's the irony. Here's the real irony of doing the inner work. Once you've done it, you no longer require external validation. You just go out simply to have fun, to connect with people. And it happens effortlessly and easily. Whether you go to an official singles event or whether you choose to go to the supermarket, it makes no difference. You start the beautiful connections happening that are heart-centered. Then what happens is all these gorgeous girls and guys that you've been wanting to meet for years are wanting to be in your presence. You're the one that gets to choose whether you have a second date or not. You're not the one hoping to be asked. And then you think, well, where were you all when I was lonely, when I was feeling sad, when I was feeling not validated? I'm not the prettiest girl, or I'm not the smartest guy, or I'm not the richest this, or whatever, fill in the blanks. Now you all want to be around me. I don't need you now. And that's the irony. But the beautiful thing is that on a deeper level, we all need connections with other human beings, whether we are in a relationship or not. We are social creatures, and it's a very important part of our happiness. So I can't encourage people enough to do the inner work so that they can change their reality. And it's not as hard as people think. It's really not. You just got to start.
Jane, I'd imagine that some of the free resources that you were talking about before could potentially help people with that. Do you want to have a quick chat with us about how people can connect with you, but also what you could help them with to get them started on this journey?
Fantastic. Okay, so I've got a couple of different options here for people. The first one, that if you're already dating and you feel like, you've kind of got your game on, but maybe you've been making inaccurate assumptions, or perhaps you're ready to date, but you're feeling fearful about, how do I date when I'm 45 years old? Last time I dated, I was 18 and I married that girl or guy. I've got an 18 series free podcast. They're a little short, 5 to 10 minutes. I answer a different question on 18 different episodes. And they're just things like, I want to find chemistry. What is chemistry? Or who pays for the first date? Or how to introduce sex when you're starting to date somebody, or how to say no to sex when you don't want to have sex with them. So very simple things that we don't learn at school. So they can grab those by heading to my website, and there's a little form that you can click in, pop your email address in, and you get one of those sent to you every week for 18 weeks. Another option I've got for those that are really wanting to go deeper and really start to heal their inner self and grow in tools and embracing deep self-love, I have a podcast called The Love Life Show. And that website's a bit different to the one that we'll share in this summit, which is lovelifeshow.com. There's a back catalogue of 250 episodes, and they go for anywhere from half an hour to an hour, and we go deep. It's all about emotional intelligence. It's also a searchable facility. So you don't have to plow through 250 hours of content, but you can find whatever your issue is and then start doing the work. And then for those that really want to look at the 50 top self-sabotaging behaviors that go on, I've got my book, How to Get the Date, and it is written for those that are aged 30 and up. So this is where this book's probably a little bit different to a lot of the dating books that are out there, is that this is really targeting those that have had relationships, often long-term marriages that have ended, and it really helps people to move through identifying their self-sabotaging story. But it doesn't end there. We then go into the inner game. So we've got the outer game problem that I identify, and then we go into the inner game, how to solve it. And what I'd love to do, Jackie, is give your beautiful viewers 50% off if they'd like to get the ebook downloaded. And actually, I just have to look. The code is KE22R. If they, it's a crazy code, it's what the system generates, but if they pop that code in, that'll get them a 50% off of the book. So hopefully those things will get them started. Loads of other resources, but that's a starting point for now.
Wow, Jane, that is so super generous. And obviously, to me, that shows your level of commitment to the industry that you're in, and to really genuinely making a change, making a difference for people, and providing such amazing quality information. And a lot of it is just free for them to access. And I really value and honor that. So I'll make sure that it's my pleasure. I'll make sure that all those links are in the email as well, and the code will be in there as well. Jane, thank you so much for your love, for your energy, and for your time. Do you have just one parting message that you would like to leave for any of the listeners as your life calling that speaks to you now?
Thank you so much. It is to deeply, deeply know that you are incredibly worthy, that you are amazing, beautiful, talented, kind, compassionate, and you are so worthy of everything that your heart desires. whether it be love or the next rock star job or a beautiful new friendship. It doesn't matter. You are totally worthy. And please believe that and become your own biggest cheerleader. Self-love all the way.
I love that, Jane. Thank you so much. That is a message that I will definitely be listening to again. I think we could all do with hearing that and really letting it sink into our heart and our spirit. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here, for our listeners, for sharing this information and for being on this journey with the Love Uncensored Summit. Please make sure that you take advantage of all of the opportunities that come your way, and this one specifically from Jane, where you have access to so much information to really support you on your journey, whatever that is. Thank you for being here. I'll see you on the next interview.